Mr. Dubois, a pleasure as always. You don't have to sit down this time, since you've already sat on that chair. I'm very glad to hear that, Harry. One question. You didn't actually happen to stumble in and see what's inside the apartment, did you?
He's trying to figure out if you're lying.
Just as I thought. Culturally antiquated bug collection. What a weasel. Pissing on Evrart's Rainbow Coalition.
He was testing you, and you succeeded.
Now let's get down to brass tacks. It's time for men like me and you to figure out who's killed who and why. Real police work is gonna start happening now. I promise you, Harry, this is gonna be good. Racist mugs in the trash and in the apartment? You guys are just light years ahead of me. I have so much confidence in the ability of your organization. I'm relieved you're doing this and leaving me to do what I do best. Helping people. With the power of politics.
Yes, yes. Do you think this weasel is somehow connected to the murder?
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't cross paths like that. All I want is for you to succeed in your investigation. I would never complicate things for you.
Oddly, it seems to be true.
Believe me, Harry, he's a nobody. Just your basement variety nobody. Can't imagine him being connected to a high-caliber case like this. But he does live nearby. Maybe it's a pedantic weasel. Fascists are known to be neat freaks. I feel like a real detective right now, Harry. Am I getting this right?
Would he? I'm not so sure about it.
Oh, you're too kind, Harry. Way too kind. I know I'm not a real police officer. You are. By now, I'm sure you've figured out who the dead man was working for. The bad guys. Wild Pines. Sent to scare us. Another violent measure of the top hats against us flatcaps. Harry, this strike is the culmination of many, many mistakes made by the Wild Pines group. They tried to shut the strike down by sending in armed mercenaries.
You mean our victim?
A security contractor? Can you imagine that? Workers standing in peaceful protest, united in the spirit of fellowship, and they send hired killers to mow us down with machine gun fire?
He performs a motion as if spraying bullets from a machine gun.
I'm talking beasts, hardened killers from proxy wars in Yisut, Semenine, Saramaritsa, you name it, they've done it. Raping, killing, burning villages, killing little children for the Senorita Pineapple Company, Harry. Everything they did there, they brought over here. They want to turn Revachol into a third world slum. Honestly, the only thing they didn't do is kill the village elephant. No, Harry, the elephant is metaphorical and so is the village, but the mercs and their brutality are very real. Now, I haven't personally witnessed the brutalities out there. I have the luxury of staying in my container, you see. If I need to go somewhere, they just move my container. Yes, I'm an old man, Harry. My legs aren't what they used to be. They lift my office with that big crane. It's actually very fun. You should try it. But enough about me and my fun container. The killers the company hired, I think there were 3 of them, all hardened commando types. One of them got downright suicidal, getting drunk, violent, a little rapey. Even their own negotiator couldn't control him. That's your boy, the one who likes hanging out and trees.
By negotiator, you mean Joyce?
Harry, what you need to realize is, we dock workers are not pushovers. We got grit, Harry. This whole neighborhood does. Push us hard enough and we push back. And when we do, we push to kill. Potentially, Harry, potentially. We got arm wrestling champions, rowing club people, ex-coal miners, Tough guys, all ready to spring into action for their home base. There's a militant wing inside the Union, a group of people whose duties don't involve manual labor, but peacekeeping in the neighborhood, making sure everything runs smoothly.
That sounds a bit like organized crime.
They're like you guys. Idealistic people who want to make sure bad things don't happen. And if they already have, well, punishment must follow.
Again, that sounds like organized crime.
So these idealists killed our victim?
One day Titus Hardy, leader of this peacekeeping faction, comes up to me and says, "Boss, socialist democratic fervor drove us to take it upon ourselves to kill this beast that was burdening the land." He probably worded it differently, but that was the idea. Sure sounded to me like they killed him. I gave them 2 weeks paid leave and told them to lay low to avoid retaliation.
Aren't you worried we might arrest them for this?
Oh, I'm not at all worried about that. These are not the kind of men who get arrested. They're Martinaise boys, tough and gritty. I'd like to see the man who takes them in. Besides, I sent my lawyer girl to look after them.
He places a lot of faith in that lawyer girl. Perhaps this is a tactical error. Anyway.
Oh, Liz is a bright one. I paid for that law degree myself, thinking it'll probably turn her all fancy. But hell, Harry, she came back a firebrand socialist. Sometimes she scares me with her zeal. How do I know? Let me tell you about these people. That's their MO. It's what they do. Last winter, some poor workers in Terminal E went on a little strike. The company sent in Sediment, a security contractor. The strike was over the workers' right to wear protective footwear, Harry. These guys turn up and start beating people. Tell you what, Harry, I wouldn't be surprised if we got the same mercenary company after a little rebranding. And I'm sure as hell not surprised to see an army of scabs under my gates.
So you believe the scabs were organized by the security contractor?
You said it. Hell, one of those guys looks big enough to take down that proverbial elephant. Boys like that don't just happen to show up during strikes.
That does sound quite unlikely, yes. The big guy leading the scabs at the gate is colossal.
Oh, they are simply fine young men, all 7 of them. Exemplary union members, always working to advance their position in the local socialist democratic movement. Core members. Old Theo used to run them, but things really kicked into gear when Titus took the reins and named the group after himself. Gotta love his initiative.
Interesting. Who's second in command?
They're almost all of them great guys, born leaders. Whatever happened, I'm sure they only had the best interests of Martinaise and Revachol in mind. Work with them. Hell, interview them. But don't fight them. They really are just like you. Men who like beer, women, and some order on the streets. You know what, Harry? I got a feeling they're gonna show up in full force tomorrow.
The lieutenant marks something in his notebook.
But of course, it's the least I can do for my good friend Harry. I'll do it right after we've concluded this talk.
When you meet this Titus, tell him about this. See what he has to say.
Also, Harry, here's 5 real. I'm not giving you anything. I'm just holding out 5 real.
The lieutenant watches you pocket the banknote. He looks a little puzzled.
Good boy. A real team player. Now, do you have any more questions? Was it a good talk? I'm not sure we made much headway here. I was hoping we'd bust the case wide open. Heck, I even wanted to tell you what I really want to achieve with the strike. I don't know what happened, Harry. I wanted you to feel like Mr. Martinaise. And of course, I also wanted you to find your gun. But it's like I can't completely trust you. Yet. Yes, Harry, it's like I can't fully trust you if you're not a man of the left. I want to, but I just can't.
A man of the left? So you have to be a social democrat?
You're saying it, but I don't believe you. You know how it is, company snitches, agent provocateurs everywhere. I'm barricaded in this fortress of mine, and I need to get a message out. Will you help me?
And what would this entail?
Once again, I require nothing unethical or illegal of you. You just need to get 2 little signatures on this piece of paper, and then mail it to my accountant in La Delta.
It depends. I don't think what we just got from Mr. Clare was very useful.
As I said, it weighs on me heavily. But once we get really talking, well, I'm gonna hand you the keys to Martinaise, and maybe even help you figure out who's behind this killing.
He's saying as little as possible, as vaguely as he can, deliberately omitting things.
I'm glad you asked, Harry. The Union is going to build a modern youth centre in Martinaise. It will be righteous. We're gonna get those teenagers off drugs, and on roller skates. There's a nameless little street on the coast with some old houses around it. Most people have already signed. I just need 2 more signatures to get this mission off the ground, Harry. They are just gonna have to deal with the construction noise for 6 months, and then they'll be living like kings. Right next to a fancy new youth centre designed by the best architects from Stella Marie.
Is he absolutely sure the tenants won't be thrown out in the street?
Am I? Harry, these people, Martinaise is the most important thing in my life. I would never let anything bad happen to them. We're gonna build a youth centre there. The value of their properties goes up and kids have a place to play in. I'm looking out for these people, not pulling the rug from under them, Harry. I'm looking out for all of Martinaise, not just the harbour. On the coast, Harry, across the canal. There's a cul-de-sac there, a little village they're calling it. A gloomy place. You'll find it. I trust your detective skills, Harry. You bring joy to my heart, Harry. Such a pleasure to be working with you. Here, you need to get signatures from Isabel Sadie and Lillian Carter. The cul-de-sac is right past the pawn shop and across the canal. I hear there is some trouble with the water lock, but they should fix it by Wednesday morning. Once you have the signatures, mail this to 13022 La Rocca in La Delta. Then, I'll know you're a solid socialist. Harry, honestly, I'm just relieved you didn't get a hernia. A man your age... Yes, Harry. You are obviously in peak physical condition, and I salute both your initiative and your physical prowess. Very impressive, Harry. Very impressive. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. Most certainly, Harry. Nothing brightens my day like brainstorm. By all means, Harry. See you soon, debardeur.
The face of King Frittte smiles at you. For some reason, the smile now strikes you as more forced than it did before. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip. It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kenajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Of course not. The article makes plain that this is man on bear, or in some cases, woman on bear competition. 2 competitors, 1 ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively. What are you, a statistician? Did the moral intern send you on a fact-finding mission? This is the SRV party line, comrade.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? They are quite the spectacle, as I understand. I've heard they make the people in the front rows wear plastic sheets, on account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. In Revachol, it's held quadrennially on the prestigious Zero Carousel racing circuit. You flip back to the front.
betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
You have succumbed to Al-Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al-Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. No, you don't. You need to get another drink. Occidental Haplogroup B4 is done giving orders around here. The influence of the ham sandwich race is waning.
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
Look at my craniology. I am the pinnacle of my haplogroup. The pink blob is a bad example, even of yours. It saddens me. You were once a noble and powerful race. You gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war like missiles and aerostatic aircraft. You made great gains in metallurgy, race theory, and statecraft. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Quakers. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with sadness and with frivolous pop culture. You will be superseded. Isn't that right, babe?
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
Enough with this begging. You should leave the stage of history with dignity by inviting the other races to a great world war. Bring your troops to the Seminine Islands and to Boogie Street, and we will pulverize you. When you are gone, we will build a museum for you. The walls will be lined with bottles of Al-Ghul, your beloved beverage. Inside, we will store the odes to homosexuality you call art, and your microcephalic skulls.
You could internalize Measurehead's race theory. It would enrich you rhetorically. Well, yes. Why? Don't you want to be a Seminese supremacist? So what if you're not Seminese? You can be anything. Ask what kind of races there are first. Classification is core to this stuff.
Do you? What thing? We already got in the harbor. You just want to hear about races, don't you?
You are obviously a liberal, Sailorite. A polyculturalist. I can see it from your love of microtechnology and your sartorial choices. Do not deny your friend the truth you have denied yourself. There are 3 categories of race. Type A, the heroic races. Type B, the servile races. And the vile CF race cauldron of pederasty. Which one do you need education on? Those are the Simonese, the Areopagite, and the Occidentals, excluding the Maun, of course. The Maun are riddled with eczema to the point where they find it impossible to smile. They are all lactose intolerant, a common result of inbreeding. A receding genetic pool has led the Maun on reprehensible street parades. In Maun cities like Stadskanal, the Vespertines and Messinians of Vesper and Messina, the ancient meteorans of Meteo by the golden Pisantic Sea, the Suren of Sur-la-Clé, and even the North Königsteiners, all have type A race propensities. The other large mondial civilization, the Mesk, are too yellow and oleaginous to count as a heroic race. True, they are violent and expansionist, but they have a glandular problem. Overproduction of sebum. Sebum is leaking into their brains, making them listen to El Mariachi music and eat toxic minced meat-based food, which in turn only produces more sebum. As proven by the Maun and the Mesk, Occidental type A is in retrograde. The Semenese, the Areopagites are sleek, long-headed. The Semenese are powerful, mesomorphic. The former is an immutable progenitor, unchanged since the Super Isola of Pericarnasis. Ancient brains rest in their slender skull. The latter is perfected and adapted. Together they form the Semeno-Areop. You need to know both types A and B to understand the context.
Yeah, you have to have context, you know.
Type B are the unheroic races, amorphous non-competitors of the great.
The Khoikhos of Grad, Yugo, Zhimsk, Shest et al. Are what you would call white officer in a suspect description.
Yes, to an untrained eye, Khoiko appear white and pinkish, like a hand sandwich. Pinkness is a racial quality that has to be earned through centuries of advanced ballistic warfare. The Khoiko, the countless micronationalities of Grad, are all inexplicably obsessed with product.
Wouldn't he be one for ethnostates?
They are microscopic. The Semeno-Areopagite superstate will cover the entire remaining planetary crust, uninterrupted. From Holy Semenine to the Boreal Plateau of Katla. Its leaders will be the genetic epitome of the Semenese and Areopagite stock, elected by nature, not the base inner spoilage called demos. The Vasholians, halfway between type A and the racial cauldron, too mixed to know right from wrong. You tried your degenerate little revolution, which was the single greatest failure committed by humans in our 82,000-year history on this planet.
Is it 82,000 years that we've been recording history? You have very little idea of what is happening, but that seems a little off.
The mysteries of the people of this planet are a tragedy that has played out countless times over, like a fever dream of skin, hair, and bone. Wake up, naive chessmen. The revolution came to Ravachol from Grad, in Zaraf-ridden potato carts. It is literally an illness, a prion disease that leaves the parietal and frontal lobe ridden with holes. A soft, sponge-like mass of dementia, hallucination, and paranoia. The revolution is fatal familial insomnia, a hereditary prion condition passed from the Khoiko to the Occidentals, but not sexually. Probably through trade roots and potate acid, the prime component of the potato plant. Enough of type mediocrity. Tips CF are a museum of failed chimeric experiments and tragic maladaptations. They are tortured creatures waiting to be put to sleep. Your morbid interest in them worries me. It would be cruel to entertain ourselves with their deformities. Were there any able-bodied races you needed education on? You understand nothing. To solve the great race enigma, you have to first ask yourself, what is the race enigma? You have not even worded the mystery, let alone solved it. You need to internalize what you have heard here today, then return to me. This clarity does not come instantly. I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Bashoyan. Your love for disco music and venereal disease? Racists are generally not very good examples of their race.
Welcome to Revershow. You hear him yell at a redhead woman visiting the Frittte nearby. He must think redheads are immigrants.
I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features. This should dispel any doubt.
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminalism. Also, his earlobes could be small.
The size of the earlobes is not a real craniometric criteria. Everyone knows this.
Your earlobes are flawless, Jean-Luc.
Yes.
That atavistic stigmata makes pussy say yes plenty.
Babe, thanks. But I got this.
He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your pathetic cup. I have no interest in it.
He had nothing to do with it.
Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront international capital. Something your race, naivistic communists, never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. It is lax and moronic. Jam. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth culture, have you not? You have picked them up from rock and roll songs? Offshoots of the Seminoles people invented disco while having sex under the influence of cocaine. It is a shame upon my race. But what is done is done. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Seminoles race.
Measurehead stoically looks to the distance in silence.
I think this racist is better than the last, but the next racist will be the really good one.
That will be the...
He will grant us 3 wishes.
Your pedomorphic friend has quick wits, a protruding occiput, and an indented zygomatic bone.
The lieutenant does not flinch.
You should keep him close. The congenital defect of farsightedness does not render him a complete invalid. he still has the use of his mind.
The man looks at you, silent and unmoving. His eyes burrow into the remnants of your soul.
You are not Santiago. Santiago is not you. Even the phrenically impaired can see this.
Aces low. For the rest of the world, the Aces low is just some cool Revachol thing, politically neutral. In Revachol, it still holds revolutionary connotations. Also, have you looked at Lieutenant Kitsuragi's clothes? He wears a bomber jacket, just like the ones worn by aerostatic brigades. And those cargo pants look like they could fit tools for hot fixing your burning aerostatic. You should ask him about this.
Yes? Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. Alright, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? What? This? It's just seasonal clothing. Where is this going? Interesting. I think it's called the brain.
It's no mere brain.
Okay, art cup. I do not harbor a sentiment for revolutionary air brigades in particular. Okay, I wanted to become an aerostatic pilot. Then I turned 10 and realized we no longer have an air force. Absolutely nothing.
The revolutionary must have added a little luster to it for a 10-year-old Kitsuragi. He will never admit it, though.
I've noticed. And okay, the revolution employed a more forward-looking 8-rotor design. Their blades were foldable and their pilots were better trained and motivated. I see this from a purely tactical standpoint, of course. Good. That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
I guess you don't need glasses. That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul, so was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity, and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking at the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Revacholier.
A point of pride to him.
No.
The lieutenant nods.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
What? Think? I do most of my work inside my notebook.
The lieutenant produces his familiar mnemotechnique A6 and idly thumbs through a few pages. We all have our different mediums. His is written.
Good. Let's change the subject. What do you want to know? You mean like a brief? There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief, that's okay. I did. 3 days ago, the RCM emergencies desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinaise. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. Okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know? Good.
Why does art inspire you so much? Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and performative creativity. It's an expression of imagination and technical skill. Additionally, it's history, criticism, and pure enjoyment. In short, art is the highest form of human communication, representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined. Have you looked in the mirror lately? You have the exact features of a savage art critic, with that beard and those clothes, disheveled and prophetic. Perhaps you should try to critique architecture too. Yes, you seek substance. No vapid representations and reproductions of social mores as made manifest in stuffy biennials. We're talking real, living art here. Become the art cop. Half art critic, half cop. Exactly. It's not only your duty to only catch the criminals off the street, you must also apprehend criminals of the printing press and the gallery, the trite and derivative artists and writers of the world. Go ahead and provide savage criticisms, art cop. The world is yours to rip to pieces and reassemble. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo. Their logo is the bloodless rose, pure white, untouched by harm.
Just ask me if you need anything from Saint Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Measurehead, Dramamine, Magnesium, and Hypnogamma. I don't know. Let's see. Measurehead is a nasal spray. Dramamine is a really good painkiller. Magnesium is a dietary supplement. Hypnogamma is... I don't really know what Hypnogamma is. I guess it makes you feel less shit. It's recommended to use after lots of partying, studying, or exercising. No, sorry. I'm not like a doctor or anything.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now.
Looking for something? It's about biological determinism, natural law, the sorting of the races. Not the most popular topic nowadays, with the coalition in charge and all. You might want to change the topic. That is, bury your head under the sand like common sheep. I'm not just racist. Look, I've read books. The science of racial theory has all been proved, even if some people don't want to accept it. People who've studied these things say that you and me are superior by design. So, naturally, we Occidentals should be in charge. Obviously, you can see the merits in that.
Oh?
Don't push your luck, Runt.
A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. Fumes of heavy fuel oil waft over you, making your eyes sting. The odor mixes with cigarette residue. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crown with wavy rays. It is the seal of Royalist era Revachol. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large, muscular man. The title reads, Man from Eamdal in the Lost City of the Pygmies.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia, not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is, drapes it all over his machine.
There he is, in front of Frittte, smoking nervously, hoping it's over.
Looking for something, Runt? Come to tell me to fuck off again? Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the dock workers are on strike, so it's a sit and wait on your ass situation. The strike? Oh, they've been at it for apples.
Apples is exactly the kind of thing you'd say if you had something to hide.
Yeah, apples? Oh, not much anymore. The strike? Apples.
Apples is
Look, oh, I'm here.
Koiko may be another derogative for a person.
Yeah,
In fact, Yekokata is a desolate wasteland whose name literally
yeah? Then, I guess they grow. Yeah, you know, Grand Nix, Grand cause that. Hey, if the name and description, apples. Oh yeah, they're a big deal. Someone with a cart. What did you think it was? That's how deep into history our thing reaches. Before machines. Not at all. We're part of a guild and everything, huh? It's very ancient, very prestigious. Hell no, it's a guild. Invitation only. Unions work for the rich fucks. They're basically the same. Been trying to fuck us out of our heritage in the name of profit, but you can't replace experience. Trusting street thugs with their goods is going to fuck him right up the ass.
A lorry stuck in the window, fumes of heavy fuel oil. As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chest piece. The small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along to something on her radio. A photograph is clutched in her hands, and there is a warm smile on her face. The photo, an ambrotype from the turn of the century, as golden as her smile.
Wait, she's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone. Why? I just told you why.
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph. No response.